was so stupid. I'm sorry, people. I know it's probably not right to start a video with an out-of-context laugh talking about something you have no idea what I mean, but screw it. If this isn't going to try, why should I? So this week we're talking about the episode titled The Other Lost Incident. Yeah, up there with brilliant, great, intelligent titles like Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Iron Man 2. Just a 2. Yeah, this was stupid. This was really fucking stupid. Let's talk about the good things first. There are a couple good things. I'm sure they're not going to go anywhere, but they deserve to be addressed. First up, the revelation of what exactly was his name Kunagmi? I forget. Whatever the guy's plot was. So we found out that this is a suicide mission. Like, legitimately, the Knights of Hanoi, everything we've been watching for 30 episodes, they're going to basically kill themselves. Like, literally, that's it. Like, it's a suicide plot, and that kind of adds a little more depth to it. Usually, all these are, we're going to take over the world and rebuild it in our own image. This is like, no. World's got to burn. Everyone associated with Data, everyone in the link frames, all that, they all got to die. Why? Because the world needs to start over, and this is what I say. Now, this obviously has many real-world parallels, and also it's just creepy because it's different. I don't think we've seen suicide plot in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, and I like the addition. I also like the idea that it plays into the sense of what is humanity this show has a theme of. Like, again, one would say murdering all the innocent people just to attain a goal you don't even know if it's really going to work is sick, but to this guy, this is what has to happen, and I don't care who I have to sacrifice, I don't care what it takes, I will make the world what I want it to be because that's what I say. It really plays into your themes all across the board because you have Yusaku who also is, I don't really care about the side effects, I'm going to do things my way. That's the same for all the characters and see its ultimate evolution in that being someone who will just kill everyone really is kind of cool. The second thing I do like the idea with Spectre being that he was also akin to the Lost Incident, though he looks 30. No one dispute that with me. This guy looks way too old. I don't care if he's meant to be the same age as Yusaku. If you want to do that, you animate it right. You don't make this guy look that old just because it makes him extra creepy when he almost tries to rape a 16-year-old girl. But no, it's an interesting idea, like sort of that idea that with Yusaku, he probably had a fairly normal childhood before this, and this kind of destroyed him and screwed it up and made him into the borderline crazy person he is today. But with this guy, he was already screwed up and didn't already come from a normal childhood. So in a way, this kind of stabilized him and gave him a goal to look forward to, even if it is screwed up and horrible. And I will say this, it is nice that he is just crazy. The thing that I was laughing at was the tree protected me. It's stupid and it's ridiculous. But if we're going under the assumption that this guy is a nutcase, maybe he made it all up. Maybe he thinks it, but that didn't really happen. I don't know, but honestly, don't waste time animating it, really, if it's just an in-his-head thing. As for the rest of this episode, oh, Jesus. Let's start off right from the beginning. Let's start off with, first up, where's the blue orb around Aoi? I thought they're supposed to have blue orbs around them to protect them from anyone who might want to harm them when their mind is attached to the Vrains. Where's Aoi's? Some may call that nitpicking, but I call it, if I'm going to sit through this, I'm going to pick apart everything. Then Akira runs into the apartment. Why didn't he just log into Link Vrains the minute he saw Aoi fail? How far is their home from this place? And why does he need to go to her physically? Why doesn't he just go to Link Vrains immediately if he's going to jump in there? And better yet, I'd love for it to be that it takes like 10 minutes to put you into like the tower or whatever, and in that 10 minutes, if he just jumped right in there, he could have saved her. I know that's not the implication, but it's dumb, and I get him going there supposed to reinforce the idea that he sees her injured and he has to help her immediately, then just show him doing it immediately, otherwise it's just wasting more time. Then Aoi doesn't even get final lines. Yeah, kind of the character holding this thing together doesn't get anything. I want to remind you all for a minute. Basically, the thing that leads to Yusaku's big duel with Revolver, the thing that has like 20 AMVs online, was all spawned due to Aoi. Everything that happened over that 5 or 6 episode period from the minute she goes into a coma to everything after happens because of her. Aoi is one of the central parts of this show, if only by accident, and she is basically written out like it's nothing. I cannot stand this when shows do this. This is a common problem in many things. My usual example is Madoka Magica, where they kill off my favorite character and then just basically ignore the fact that she existed. If you guys know my taste, you know who I'm talking about. But that's basically what's done here. Personally, I want to believe they didn't even want to pay the actress for another episode, so they just got rid of her. She just sort of goes away, and that's about it, because instead of dealing with the side effects of this, you know, like how we wasted a whole episode last time dealing with the side effects of her being with a coma, we immediately need to get to the exposition dump of what's going on. And even though I did like that scene, it ultimately should have played out much better, and the fact that it goes the way it does is wasted. Akira's not going to do anything. Even if he escapes and tries to help, it's ultimately going to be pointless, because everything will have to revolve between a big duel between Yusaku and Revolver or whoever. The reality is that why not make that scene with Aoi? Why not make it that she loses, and instead of getting turned into data, I don't know, she's useful for something, so she meets the scientist and gets the big explanation from him. I'm not saying this is necessarily better, but it would have been tighter. Like, the thing is no one in this is going to do anything. Hey, where's Go? Remember Go? Remember how Go was helping out with this and we haven't seen him for like 3 or 4 episodes? Like, we just have these totally separate plots going on, and they don't really work on their own because they all feel like they're made to have separate goals. Aoi needs to go away, mainly so there can be someone who shows the level of intensity, and also she's the girl, so she's pointless. I don't know what Go's purpose is. And then you have Yusaku, who, oh yeah, another thing I want to talk about first, the stupid frog and the bird. I said at first I didn't overly mind these two. I fucking hate them at this point. Like, literally, they just destroy the tone of the whole show. Like, last episode had this violent ending of a girl basically being ripped apart mentally and then being slammed face first into the pavement. And then immediately we cut to a stupid frog and a bird. Like, do I even need to explain why this is a problem? And they just keep popping up everywhere, saying all their dumb lines and trying to make you laugh with really unfunny humor. Hell, put Naoki back in this for all I care. At least he's kind of funny. Like, these two serve no purpose, and the fact that no one even acknowledges their existence only proves that they were probably just a studio note. Oh, you gotta make some laughs for the kiddies. You know, the kids who we claim all this shit is for. We'll basically have a metaphorical rape go on last time, but it's for the kids. Also, what was with this episode's animation budget? This looked terrible. Like, literally, the shot of the father in a coma in the real world is literally the shot from when we saw this before. I'm pretty certain the Tower of Hanoi shots are all recycled, and then, like, characters have barely any movement. Like, Akira, like, he just looked awful. Maybe that's why they didn't put the blue circle in. They didn't want to spend more money. So then Yusaku and Spectre meet, and this is where the animation budget limitations really come into play. Remember when Yusaku met Akira and dueled him, and the minute Akira brought up the Lost incident, and even though Akira was trying to help Yusaku, the minute he tried to be like, I know what you're going through, I get it, the minute this happened, Yusaku felt triggered, because how can anyone connect to me? How can anyone relate to me? If anyone tries to bring up what I got through, they are wrong, and I am angry. And it looked great because Yusaku was not shown in a positive light. They expected you to understand that this isn't rational, that reacting the way he is to what Akira is telling him is not good, and the following duel isn't really positive or negative. It's just kind of what these two characters who have problems are doing. It's a good duel and a very intelligent way to present these characters. That is not present here. Yusaku doesn't get mad when Spectre brings up the Lost incident. Yusaku doesn't get mad when he finds out Aoi, someone who up until now it's been shown off he can relate to and hinted you could go further with in a relationship with, is gone. He just doesn't even seem to care, and he doesn't move. I don't think this is necessarily directing. I think there's just no time or no effort put into making him move. And then when he finds out Spectre is another victim of the Lost incident and how being in the Lost incident had the opposite effect of him, Yusaku still doesn't react. He barely moved. He barely did anything the whole episode. And the whole sort of thing is supposed to be Spectre is Yusaku's opposite. Hence why Yusaku mostly is in dark clothes and Spectre is mostly in white clothes. That is obviously very simple symbolism. And, side note, one other little positive. The city vanishing being a metaphor for how fragile technology in modern society is. It's easy as hell, but I still thought it was fine, especially the bridge scene, like, where it really is supposed to hammer in that everything's falling apart, fine. But the whole thing just doesn't work, and then you get into the duel, and I'm immediately reminded I'd much rather have Trickstars won against this motherfucker instead of this Cybers crap. Like, it's not good. First up, Yusaku could just summon Firewall and bounce this thing back, and before anyone gets on my case being like, well, he doesn't know what it does, or Spectre's other cards or whatever, Yusaku didn't know what he did when he did all that insanity. Why didn't he just make Firewall behind the thing, and then bounce it back, and then attack? Yusaku would be 500 points or something from game, and the duel would be over. Well, then the duel would be over, and you can't make it on. You see, when your protagonist doesn't use a logical deck, and he's just using crap that looks like it was thrown together the night before, you can essentially just manipulate the duel however you want. Why doesn't Yusaku make Firewall? Well, mostly just because we need more episodes out of this. When in reality, Aoi's deck is logical and reasonable and well put together. That should have beat Spectre. I understand that, yes, Spectre's deck kind of counters Aoi's, but at the same time, it just feels untrue when you see Yusaku will win, and of course Yusaku has to win because Yusaku is Jesus, and as we all know, men in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are superior to women. Yeah, no, this was just a mess. The tree thing just made me burst out laughing, because by the time we got to it, I was just so done, and that's kind of the direction I'm going. Some may say I'm overreacting, but come on, like, can anyone say beyond a reasonable doubt this is what they wanted out of a show that promised to be smarter and cleverer and all this stuff? I don't really think so. Maybe I'm harsh, but I expect better out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments below. As for the TCG question of the week, so one thing I thought was kind of interesting that MCool40 did a video of today was, what if they don't hit Spiral until after Extreme Forces come out? I have a feeling we'll get a ban list to deal with Spiral to promote Extreme Forces. Maybe we'll finally get Lightsworn back at full power. They might put Rota to 2 to help Warrior decks to use the Noble Knight thing. I know that's crazy, but it's Konami. Do you guys think that's a good idea? I personally don't, just because I think it's just better to see Spirals go, and you'll get more people interested in other decks if it's not here. But what do you think? I think it's an interesting topic and an interesting idea. But tell me that below, and as always, click to like, click to subscribe. I'm sorry this video was really long, just, oh god, what did they do here?